Hello, happy Monday to you. Well, here we are on week 5, at least according to our schedule here for our online class. And I am in the process of looking over these genre analysis papers. Just give you a quick update. The feedback that everyone provided was really good. I'm really happy that you all are picking up on especially the aspects of analysis, the analysis section. And it's important to notice, it's important to note, and even notice, I guess, when we're looking at our papers, whether we're getting into analysis when we hit that analysis section. Think of the analysis section, which I think a lot of you did point out in your responses to your fellow classmates' papers, that while it's one thing to point out the things that we've identified in the identification sections, whether it be MLA versus APA, or whether it's first person, third person, active voice, passive voice, sections written largely about case study versus perhaps research in your discourse communities. It's another thing to kind of take those things to the next level when we're comparing and contrasting those things and really addressing the why aspect. And then also hitting the so what portion of that, which you many of you picked up on, so which was really good. And also think about that when you're analyzing, is to think about those comparisons and those contrasts to how they work back to the overall goals of the discourse community, and you can obviously make those more abundantly clear with your own discourse communities, especially as they flow from your research guide. So when your research guide, depending on maybe some of the feedback that I give you with your research guide should include some sort of a bold statement, or you maybe identified it from usually one of the academic journals or professional organizations that you identified in your research guide. It's either used to help educate, promote the main aspect of your discourse community as it applies to disseminating information to that community. Might be one of the goals or the aims. So sometimes it's good to think about that analysis of how you feel like if your discourse community is using that introduction, methods, research, discussion, or results discussion, then you might think about why that is important to your discourse community as part of your analysis and how that would differ from the writing studies community, especially if you use Downs and Wardle, or if you use Harrison or Harris, excuse me, how we present information differently, because we by and large will not have as many research studies perhaps as you might in your discourse community or whatever. So think about those things as you have thought about, for your own personal benefit, I guess, especially from the genre analysis, because this information that we built from the research guide, and now we're in the genre analysis, we've really got into identify and analyze how these things are done, how they're written, for the purpose of writing one ourselves. We're now going to write something like we write in our discourse community leading up to a research proposal. And so step 3, if you will, for this particular next assignment, 3A anyway, is the literature review. And so we need to start thinking about how we're going to handle those things beginning this week. And so, and then, let's see, so good job responding. I'm going to go on the feedback. So really what we want to do this week is we really want to narrow and focus in on a research question. So let's go to, I'm going to minimize myself here again. Let's go to Blackboard. And so here I am in week 5 activities, which you will find underneath the Project 3A literature review and Project 3B multimodal presentation. So I am in weekly tasks and assignments. Project 3A, Project 3B is really where the meat and potatoes, if you will, of our week 5 comes into play. The other thing in week 5 from the other folder will be the final draft of the genre analysis, which is due Sunday night. So let's look at our week 5 activities. Obviously one of those is to watch this video and subsequent videos that come out throughout the week. Make sure that you read thoroughly by Wednesday projects 3A and 3B. We'll dive into a little bit more of those as we get closer to the weekend. And then you have some reading from the Wordsworth Guide. And really what I want to kind of focus on in this particular video is I'd like to talk about the blog 3 post that you have coming up, because that is really going to help solidify how you're going to move from here. Now recall that in your research guides you ended with some research questions, and I hope that I provided everyone adequate feedback on the research questions. And what we really want to do with those, as you will learn through the reading, is to narrow this thing down and come up with a good set of either a research question or questions that all resolve around one topic, around one specific conversation that's taking place in your discourse community. specifically, okay, your specific field, something that you've identified that you want to find out more information about. So you're going to read in Chapter 3 about identifying a topic, right, from the Wordsworth Guide, and developing a research question. Situating the writer and the research are very good, and you want to kind of think about where you are in terms of that, and what your plan is to get these resources, okay? Because the next week we're going to do launch text, and so you want to be working up to at least 6 to 8 solid sources that are all directly talking about your research question specifically and addressing the thing that you are interested in, okay? So let's go down. Let's just blog 3, research questions and plan is the assignment other than your final draft for the genre analysis due this week. So let's look at this. For this blog entry, begin by reviewing the research question you drafted in Project 1, as well as information, text, issues, and questions you have encountered in text from the discourse community since completing Project 1. So in Project 1, perhaps one of your research questions maybe came right out of current research, all right, or contemporary research, that section in the research guide. So you may already have 1 or 2 sources right there that you can draw from that might be directly related to one of those particular areas in your research question that you want to focus on. So look at that, and then of course obviously with Project 2, the genre analysis, maybe the one of the articles that you chose to analyze versus the writing studies discourse community, maybe that is one of your key texts. So draft or revise several potential research questions that you will pursue for your research project this semester, at least 3, and write a list of research plans for each. What text have you read related to this topic so far? What databases or library sources regarding these questions? What is your timeline for looking into these questions for Project 3? All right, so ultimately you're going to set, you're going to select one of the set of questions. So I want you to really be concentrating, if you can. If you've got one research question, you've got some solid sources, and you've got a research plan and a list of some the details and the questions that it's asking for here, primarily focus on that. And if you have some other questions you're not quite sure about, you're still in the deciding phase, and let's make sure that we flesh those out. So think about these. So keep in mind, and I'll give you feedback on what seems to be a productive route. But for now, think about several possibilities and imagine what you might be able to do to pursue these questions. So that's where we're really headed this week. We really want to think about through our readings through Chapter 3 in the book, and then Chapter 6. We're going to talk about tracking, reading, and evaluating resources. And so this is all going to be very resource driven. If you have never read a literature review or seen a literature review, I will post some examples of some literature reviews coming up shortly to this site. It's a kind of a different thing to write. It's very intensive into source use. And so you'll have I think it's an 8 to 10 page paper, literature review that is basically doing nothing but examining, articulating, and evaluating, restating, kind of all the things that you've done. So you kind of summary, some analysis, questions, etc., about the sources, about one thing. Right, and this one thing will be what you come up with through your research questions. What's the one research question? And one thing I'll note real quickly about the research question: make sure that your research question is open-ended, probably more along the lines of either a how or a why. Be careful if you write a what question that it's not easily answerable. Make sure it's not a yes or no question, or something that we want something that there is a current conversation about that you can go find out more information, that you then would write a research proposal about possible other additional avenues of researching that topic. Okay, so keep those things in mind as you're thinking about your research questions for this week. All right, so let's go back to week 5 activities, and I'll wrap this up today for this short video. Okay, Project 3, 3B. 3B, we'll talk a little bit more later on the week. I want you to really be thinking right now as you're reading Projects 3A and 3B, and reading the Wordsworth Guide chapters. I really want you to be thinking about your research question and thinking about your blog, as well as you'll be thinking about, obviously, any revisions that you're going to make for your genre analysis, and I'll be working on those over the next couple of days, and I'll get those back to you as soon as possible. So if you have any other questions, please do let me know. I'll close for now. I hope you all are having a great day. You guys did a magnificent job over the weekend. Keep up the good work. I really appreciated what you had to say to your fellow peers. I thought you guys presented the information very well. It's always difficult when you're writing feedback to project it and to put it down in writing, right, so that the other person doesn't take offense and knows that this is good critique and that we're all here in a community together. This is our discourse community when you think about it, right? So I hope everyone saw benefit in the process of seeing how others are approaching and thinking about different things and presenting things in their papers. So So I guess that's it for now. I'm right on 10 minutes. So I'll just say goodbye for now, and I will hopefully have another video up by Wednesday. Have a great week, guys. Thank you. Bye.